Hello everyone, my name is Aayush and today's story is a story that is very special to me. It is very close to my heart. So this goes back to 2013 when I was living in Hyderabad, and one fine day a very close friend of mine, Apurv, he called me up and he told me that he has just won an award where he's got some travel vouchers from Thomas Cook and he can fly off to anywhere in India, and whether I would like to join him. So I asked him, sure thing, and where are we going? So he told me we are going to Kashmir. So here we were, two of us off to Kashmir, and one of the days in the trip we were going from Sonmarg, which is in Kashmir, to Leh, which is the capital of Ladakh. And the interesting thing about that trip is that we had to start off very early in the morning. We started off around 6 because the road which goes towards Ladakh is so narrow. This is a mountain road, and if it's so narrow that at one time there can be only one vehicle which can go through. There can't be two parallel vehicles going. So if we were to go, we had to make sure that we go before the army convoy starts from the other end. Otherwise we would have to wait until the convoy passes. So 6 a.m. here we were, and we got into this Tata Sumo, which was the quintessential SUV of India at the time. And as I mentioned, it was a group tour. It wasn't just the two of us on a couple of bikes in Ladakh. It was a complete family tour of sorts, where we had honeymooners, we had family, we had older people, all of us combined together in this rickety SUV. And the two of us were told that, look, you guys are the youngest, potentially the fittest, and therefore why don't you take the back seat where you get the most amount of jerks and kicks during the ride. And our driver loved 90s Bollywood songs, so here we were sitting in the rickiest seats of the Tata Sumo listening to 90s Bollywood. But the view was incredible. Outside, if you look outside the window, you just get to see three colors: the blue of the sky, the brown of the mountains, and the black of the road. So incredible views. So we kept on the road. We kept riding for about 12 hours, and at 6 p.m. we reached a village called Temisgam. So this is a small village, and our accommodation for the night was in tents. So they had actually laid out tents beside the river Indus, which is the main river of the valley, and we were given some very comfortable accommodation in the tents. And we finished dinner quite early, and we were so tired, we said, look, we're going to go off to sleep. So around 8 in the evening itself, both of us started walking towards the tents, and one of the guys who were the caretaker of the tents called me, and he said, Mr. Aayush, why don't you take these? And I looked at what he was giving to me, and these were some candles. So he told me that around 11 in the evening, the generator would be stopped and there would be no lights at all in the entire vicinity. So it'll be complete darkness. So that's why don't you take these candles? And I took them, and as I was sleeping, I thought, it could be interesting to wake up at 11 and see what it's like around when it's so dark. So I put an alarm for 11, and then I slept off. So come 11 o'clock, my alarm blared, and I was very comfortable. I was in my rug, I was under the blanket, and it was very cold outside. But still I thought, okay, let me just go and check it out. So I stepped outside. I didn't even wear my glasses. I was just looking around, and I saw that everything was dark. I could see nothing basically. But then I looked up and I could see something shimmering. I could see some different kinds of colors, and I couldn't figure out what are those. So then I went back in, I put on my glasses, and I stepped out again, and I looked up. And that view is something that I will never forget in my life, because at that moment I realized that there are more stars in the sky than there is darkness. There was an incredible number of stars, different kinds of stars, different colors of stars. And I remember going back in, dashing in, and waking up Apurv and saying, look, you've got to see this. So both of us again came out, and he also saw the view, and we spent the next better part of the hour just looking at the stars outside, just making sure that it remains in our minds and in our hearts. So 6 months went by after that incident, and I was back in Hyderabad. I was working for a company, and one evening I could not sleep. That night I was just tossing and turning. I could not sleep at all. because in my mind I just could not come to terms with my life. I was very annoyed with the kind of life I was living. I did not enjoy my work. I did not enjoy my job at all. And I was cursing life. I was saying, what kind of life this is? It's pathetic. And after a while, I just stepped outside. So at the time, our house had a terrace. So I stepped out to the terrace and I was just walking around aimlessly, and I looked up. And I looked up at the night sky from the Hyderabad city, and it was incredibly dusty. I could recognize a couple of constellations. I could see the Big Dipper, but beyond that, it was nothing what I had seen in Ladakh. And I thought to myself, why is it so? Why is it so that I can't see the beauty of the sky? And I realized that actually it's not that the sky is not beautiful. I know that the sky is incredible. I've seen it with my own eyes in Ladakh, that the night sky is extraordinary. But the problem is that I was looking at it from a different place and from a different time. I was looking at it from a very dusty city, and that was the challenge. And that is why the sky didn't look as beautiful to me as it really was. So I kept thinking and I kept thinking more, and I realized that that is actually a parable for life. When I was cursing life and I was saying that life isn't good, actually life is pretty darn good. It is incredibly beautiful. It's just that sometimes we are at the wrong place or at the wrong time to truly appreciate it. And after that thought, I was able to come to terms with the challenges I faced, and I went back to sleep. So that's the story for today, and I hope you enjoyed it.